Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Executive Director of the Surf Industry Members Association, Mr. Vipe Desai.
Welcome to Waterman's at the Ranch Laguna Beach. How stoked are we right now? Such an incredible evening to celebrate some incredible individuals who are well-deserving and also support 15 nonprofits that are working to protect our oceans. Okay, with that, let's toast to everybody. Put those glasses up. Let's get the toast going. All right. Tonight, you're going to open up your hearts and your wallets. Okay? Cheers to everybody tonight. Woo! All right. So, some of you may know about SIMA, and some of you may not. So, let me just share a little bit about us. So, SIMA was started back in 1989. Okay, and since then, we've been fighting the good fight to protect the industry, keep surfers in the water, and protect our oceans. 33 years of Watermans. That's what we have achieved, and we've raised over $9 million because of all of you. Now, you can read more about SIMA in your program guide, and I would encourage you to do so. We have a great story that you should be aware of. Okay, now the other thing is, how many of you were here last year? Raise your hand. All right, a good portion. Okay, so I'm going to tell you this, that Paul called me up, and he's like, hey, would you come and MC? And, you know, I came down, and I didn't realize that there was this scheme that was being hatched by Paul, Dylan, and Kathy to get me to come on as your executive director. Okay, so December 1, I joined SIMA to become the executive director, so... Well played, guys. Well played. So just be careful what happens here, okay? Now, the other thing is, SIMA does not function without leadership, okay? And leadership is the safest ship in a storm, okay? So I want to recognize some people that are here that are important to our organization, our association, and the SIMA Environmental Fund. So if you're here and you're part of the Senior Advisory Board, will you stand up so we can recognize you? Senior Advisory Board. Bob Mignona, PT, Joel Cooper. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Advisory Board. We have a stellar advisory board. If you are on our advisory board, please stand up. Let's recognize you. Graham Stapleberg, Bob Graffey, Vince Della Pena. Who else am I missing? Did I miss anybody else? All right. And our board of directors. If you are on our board of directors, please stand up. Come on. Mark Tinkus, Ryan Hitzel, Kathy Curtis, thank you so much. All right, perfect. And we've also got our executive committee here, so I want to recognize them. Paul Nade, Dylan Slater, and Kathy Curtis. Thank you so much for your leadership. This organization and tonight does not function without leadership. Okay, I also want to take a moment to personally thank Ann and Beto. So I want to thank you for investing your time, energy, and money into me. Thank you so much. I would not be the advocate that I am today without you and your organization. So thank you. I think you're going to hear more people echo that same sentiment. So thank you so much. Okay, remember why we're here. Without a healthy ocean, our industry does not exist. Okay, so like I said at the beginning, open your heart, open your wallets, give big, go big. Okay, we have some incredible honorees we're going to be celebrating, and we want to support our environmental beneficiaries here tonight. Okay, so like I said, you know, I've been here as the executive director since December, and I had 2 action items that I wanted to achieve when I got here. First was fire myself as your MC. Okay, so we have an incredible MC that's going to be coming up here in just a few minutes. The second thing is we changed the name. Okay, we went from Surf Industry Manufacturers Association to Surf Industry Members Association. The tent has to be bigger. We got to bring more people in to the fold. Okay, that's the only way we're going to be a resilient industry if we're unified. Okay, so that's it from me. Read the program guide, read about SIMA. Thank you all so much for being here. We're excited to have you. Now, please help me welcome my good friend, mentor, and just an incredible global ocean warrior, CEO of Surfers Against Sewage, Hugo Tagholm.
Wow, what an introduction, and no pressure then, Vipe. Well, look, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this incredible evening of celebrating this surfing community, our amazing surfing community, and these 15 incredible environmental beneficiaries. Most importantly, we're here to raise money to support some of these most impactful environmental organizations working to protect our ocean, our beaches, and our surf ecosystems worldwide. I'm Hugo Tagholm. I'm Chief Executive of the marine conservation non-profit Surfers Against Sewage, which represents the environmental interests of the UK's surfing and ocean community. We're proud to work with many of tonight's beneficiaries, collaborating across the globe to give surfers and our industry a voice and influence in this crucial decade for the ocean, and particularly the Surfrider Foundation and my good friend Chad Nelson over there. Oh, well done, Chad. Our ocean is under threat like never before, and your support tonight is more important than ever before as we unite to protect our natural surf heritage for all, forever. I feel so privileged to be here tonight. Surfers Against Sewage has taken me from 10 Downing Street in London to the United Nations in New York, from royal weddings in Windsor Castle to dinners in Buckingham Palace. It takes me from working with grassroots communities worldwide to discussions with the future King of England, with presidents and prime ministers. I'm proud to represent our community in all those settings. But it's here with the surfing community and industry that I feel the most energy and inspiration. It's here that it's fucking coolest too, actually. It's here that I see the mavens, the mavericks, the pioneers, the leaders who are delivering positive change for our ocean, for our surf spots, for surfers, and for the surf industry. And it's here that I have the most fun, well, certainly when I have a couple of drinks later on. I truly believe that having fun is a big motivator for doing good for our beautiful planet. One good deed for the planet, one good wave for you. And this year marks the 33rd year anniversary of the Waterman sport. Since 1989, you've helped raise an incredible $9 million to protect our ocean, our waves, and our beaches. $9 million. Give yourself a big round of applause. And these funds are driving change to end plastic pollution. And by the way, congratulations to California on the recent bill and commitments on plastics. To protecting reefs and surf ecosystems that we all depend on, and safeguard the wildlife that we love to see in the lineup. Protecting our playgrounds will give us all a healthy future and ensure that this surf industry can thrive. A healthy ocean is a healthy industry. So how close tonight can we make it to $10 million? Please dig deep for our ocean. But importantly, Waterman's also gives us the special opportunity to honor some very deserving individuals, members of our community who have helped revolutionize the face of our sport, our industry, and protect our ocean. And this year, we're extremely honored to pay tribute to inspirational people. Brazilian pro surfer Italo Ferreira as Water Person of the Year. Anne Earhart and Beto Badolf as Environmentalists of the Year. And the late, great Michael Thompson for the Lifetime Achievement Award. But before we move on to paying tribute to these hugely deserving honorees, SIMA has prepared a special tribute to friends from our world who passed this year. And I wanted to pay personal tribute to Taylor Hawkins, who I met here at Waterman's just a few years ago. Laguna local, surfer, and dear friend of so many here tonight, an inspiration to many millions of people around the world. The next wave is for you, Taylor. Now, please join us in taking a few minutes to honor and remember our recently departed friends. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage SIMA Environmental Fund President Paul Norday.
Thanks, Hugo. Great to have you here. A little bit of pommy in the crowd, we like that. Been trying to get Hugo here for a few years, but he finally made it. Anyway, thank you all for joining us tonight. I know many of you are repeat customers, so we do appreciate it. It's, as Hugo says, our 33rd year of the Waterman's Ball, and honestly, when I watch these videos and I hear Hugo talking about what we've been up to, I'm super proud of the industry. And if you don't get stoked on that opening video, then I don't know what's going to stoke you. There's a great marriage right there of people enjoying everything that we love, the absolute joy of surfing, together with incredible environmental groups that do so much work to keep us in the water. A lot of those people you see in those photos, they're not here tonight. They've never been at events like this tonight. They don't rub shoulders with luminaries of the sport, but they're out there grinding every day, making sure that we can have another session tomorrow. So I'd like to thank you all for helping us meet SIMA's objective of giving, one of SIMA's primary objectives, which is giving back to the ocean, supporting these organizations that honestly keep us in the water. This event allows us to raise significant funds, as we've done over the years. We had a little bit of a setback during the pandemic, as did everybody, but we're back on the horse. And we've sort of heads down, bums up, and we're going for it. And we're going to continue to make a difference as to what's going on out there. The 15 organizations that we're supporting tonight cover such a vast area of battles that are out there, and from just ocean environmentalism, a lot of it in terms of SIMA's objective is sort of a little more inshore focused in terms of being in the surf zone, and now more than ever, we're starting to, as humanity, having to really face climate change. And all these organizations, even the ones that tend to focus on the surf zone, are involved in the climate change battle, the plastics battle that has far-reaching ramifications, and it's not something that's going to end quickly. It's something the battle is going to continue. We're going to go through changes in government, as we've done over the years, and it goes from sort of a positive to a negative, back to a positive, and so it goes. So the organizations that we support are, as I say, heads down, bums up, and they're going for it to do everything possible to make sure that we are able to enjoy what we do. And tonight's event is, first of all, to socialize, and I'd like to give a shout out to so many of you who've been here, for so many years, supporting this event, supporting environmentalism, being part of the rich surf culture that exists, not just here but globally. I mean, tonight we have, our Waterman of the Year is Italo Ferreira, gold medalist from the Olympics last year, the first gold medalist in the history of surfing in men's. As you know, last year we had the first gold medalist in the history of surfing in women's in Carissa Moore, and their names are indelibly etched in history. But just to give you an indication of how things have sort of advanced globally for the surfing tribe, so to speak, when I started sort of getting involved here a long time ago, the Brazilians, I had a few Brazilian mates from the 70s, and I've got a great Rio story which I'll tell at another time, but we never really anticipated that South America would become such a major force in surfing, which it has. And tonight we're honoring, as I say, the first gold medalist in surfing history in the Olympics. And this just goes to show the spread of surf culture globally, which bodes well for the oceans, bodes well for all of us. There's more and more grassroots organizations springing up around the world helping fight a good fight. I've always said that surfers are born stewards of the ocean. We tend to be in a lot of remote areas at times of day when people are up to mischief in terms of dumping or conducting, let's just say, questionable activities regarding ocean environmentalism. Surfers are there. We're a vigilant group, and we make a difference. And as surfing is spread globally, and as I say, as we see, our honoree tonight being a Brazilian, this bodes well for all of us. And, we're fighting a good fight, and but it's going to take continuous effort, and it's going to take funding. So what I'd like you to do is, as you consider bidding tonight, I'd like you to remember that by contributing to environmental protection, particularly that based around the ocean, it's really the 401k for you, your family, your grandchildren, the lifestyle that you love, and it is that. And I guarantee you that a good investment in environmentalism will probably do better than your 401k is doing on the stock market right now. I know you don't want to hear that, but I'm just letting you know. So what I'd like to do is bring up our famous auctioneer here, Mike Schumard, who's going to give us some entertainment and get things going. And let's raise some money, you guys. Let's get those organizations out there. Let's do what we can to create a planet which is worthy of the generations after us. Thank you.
Hey, look, first and foremost, a massive round of applause for Mike. I mean, if we could harness that energy, we could power all of our vehicles forever. I mean, amazing, Mike. So look, thank you. Thank you so much for your bids and your outstanding generosity. What an incredible and generous bunch of human beings you all are. And I can guarantee you'll be richly rewarded next time you're in the sea. I might even let you have a set wave or two. So congratulations to all of the winning bidders. It's now time to celebrate this year's honorees and hand out some of the awards. So here to present the 2022 SIMA Lifetime Achievement Award, please welcome to the stage Sean Thompson.
Well, it's wonderful to be here, and it's incredible to see what Waterman has achieved. I mean, close to $10 million over the years. It's just incredible. So a big shout out to everyone that's been involved, Paul Nordi, one of my old mates from the Bay of Plenty, and everyone else. So tonight, it's very bittersweet. A lot of love going out to Oliver Thompson and to Oliver's aunties as well from South Africa, Jennifer and Mandy. And I wanted to say some personal words about a genius. And I don't use that word lightly. In our particular field of surfing, there's not that many geniuses out there. And Mike Thompson was certainly one. He had a profound influence on our culture, lifestyle, business, and mentored. I know, I'm looking around here, mentored a lot of people in this group. So I wrote some words, and I know I'm going to go over time here, but I want to read some words that I wrote about my beautiful cousin. So Mike was born on an auspicious day, the 24th of August, the same day as Duke Kahanamoku, both of our heroes when we grew up. And also my beautiful son Luke's born on that same day. Many people play a part in forming our lives. Mom and dad, friends and teachers are often the biggest influences. My cousin Mike played a big part in the trajectory of my life. We were born 3 days apart, Mike a year older. We caught our first waves together on the same type of surfboard on the same day at the Bay of Plenty. We were all Bay boys, including Paul Nordi here. We surfed in our first contest together, went with my brother Paul to J Bay on our first safari, to Hawaii on the same pilgrimage. On an early trip, Mike and I even shared a pop-up caravan together on the North Shore at Haleiwa. In the surf, Mike was the most courageous surfer I had ever seen, and I'd seen a few. Bay of Plenty, Cave Rock, Sunset Beach, and Pipeline. Wowee. At Pipeline, he was a gladiator, throwing himself over the edge into horrendous double-up tubes. There's a picture of him right up there. Mike carved his own path. Like he said, no one took off deeper. And that's how Mike lived his life, full on, maxed out. In his early 20s, and very few of you know this, he wrote an op-ed in the most famous newspaper in the world, the New York Times, about apartheid in sport that created a firestorm in his homeland of South Africa. He did honors in business at Natal University, studied Peter Drucker with the same fervor he read Norman Mailer and Hunter S. Thompson. He created South Africa's first Rolling Stone type magazine out of his bedroom, down the line, and employed the country's best writers and photographers. So he was a great surfer. He was a thinker, a university student, and an incredible journalist. He was the youngest brand manager ever for the biggest company in South Africa called Unilever. And he was a writer and editor at Surfing Magazine. And until Geordie Smith, he was the only other South African ever to win a major professional event, placing number 5 on the IPS World Tour in 1976, the year he started Gotcha, while he was on tour. It grew into the hottest, most creative surf company ever, employing the world's best designers and the world's best surfers. He hired the best and brightest from across the planet, changing the lives of thousands with his boundless creativity and force of will. You know, when I think of Mark, I think of commitment, man, gnarly commitment. The guy would paddle over the edge on anything. I think of confidence. When my cousin would walk into a room, man, he'd light it up. Everyone wanted to be next to Mike. And just that creativity was mind-blowing. And if there was a trend bubbling up in Tokyo or New York or London, Mike knew about it before it bubbled over. Gotcha soared into the stratosphere, 120 million bucks, I remember. Got too big, so he started MCD, more core division, and with his brands assembled the greatest, hippest, coolest, edgiest surf team on the planet. Martin Potter, Shane Horan, Jerry Lopez, Mike Stewart, Sonny Garcia, Brock Little, Rob Machado, the Ho brothers, Dino Andino, Matt Archibald, and yes, Andy Irons too. He wrote the insightful words that have been stolen and requoted by millions and ignored by thousands more domkops. And if you don't know what a domkop is, you can ask the attorney, Bernie, where are you? Bernie Wolfdos, what's a domkop? Bernie, shout out what a domkop is. Huh? Yeah, a nitwit. He wrote the insightful words that have been stolen and requoted by millions and ignored by thousands more domkops across every growth industry. Size is the enemy of cool. Size is the enemy of cool, and that has killed more surfing brands than anything else. He had influences, Jan Wenner from Rolling Stone for one, but nothing with Mike was derivative. He was a font of creativity and originality, and if there was an envelope to be pushed, Mike mowed it down. He had the Gotcha Pro at Sandy Beach, surf's first rock and roll event, and then followed it up with the first ever event at Chopu that's going on right now in Tahiti. Yeah, Mike was just out there, man. Then he made Surfers, the movie, one of the greatest surfing movies ever, even getting Mickey Dora to finally go on screen in an unforgettable scene. A lot of surfers have had a hand in changing surfing's path. An innovative board, a new style, a new brand, new music. There are a lot of one-trick ponies out there, and they are damn good tricks and damn good ponies. Mike Thompson built a stable of ponies, and only Kelly Slater comes close to Mike's breadth of achievements. Hell, even Kelly said when he was young, all I wanted to do was surf for Gotcha. I co-produced a film a few years back. It was called Bustin' Down the Door. It chronicled the drama associated with the birth of pro surfing. The best line in the movie is Mike's. And this is a line that's more core division to the max. I will surf until I die. And he did just that. I'd like to show a video. Oh, Mark's here. Oh, we got some words from one of Mike's compadres, Mark Price.
Good evening. At the risk of being presumptuous, in case nobody missed me earlier, I've actually been quite under the weather the last couple of days with some dementia and some nausea. It's not COVID, in case anyone came near me. So apologies in advance. And Sean and I probably should have coordinated a little bit because there's some overlap between what we have to say, but I'm going to go for it anyway. You know, for those who don't know, I met MT when I was 13, and I worked at Gotcha for 12 years. And to say that my relationship with MT was complex would be like asking if bears shit in the woods, which was one of his favorite sayings. And it's obvious it was complex. He was part mentor, older brother, and at times even paternal. So apologies in advance if I drop a couple personal anecdotes and weave those into the rich tapestry of the narrative that is MT, which is far, far greater than anything that I could personally experience. For example, after dropping out of my final year, going into my final year at university, my dad wanted to meet the guy who was responsible for that, because at the time, Gotcha was sponsoring me to go on the world tour. MT sat down with my dad, and in a moment that freaked me out at the time, my dad stuck his finger in MT's face and said, "You better look after my son." And I'll come back to that later. MT and Action Sports. One more disclaimer. There are many people who contributed to Gotcha's success, but there's one person who stands head and shoulders over the rest. And I would, if you accept the premise that execution is the chariot of genius, then if you lived in Roman times, Joel Cooper would have been Lewis Hamilton. Yeah. That said, how do you distill MT's career down to a few words? What benchmarks should we use? Did he create a successful company that helped define a marketplace? Perhaps he impacted the culture beyond his specific achievements. Did he inspire the next generation of business leaders? MT did all that and more, and perhaps most of you are familiar with many of these things, so I won't go down the list too much. Instead, what I'd rather try and do is place MT's legacy in the right context and perspective, and I think it takes on a particular resonance when you look at it from that point of view. For many in the audience tonight, and certainly most of the action sports world, their first real introduction to MT was when Gotcha joined other nascent surf brands in the emerging US surf clothing market, as legacy brands like OP and Lightning Bolt were fading away. And at first glance, they probably thought he was just the latest athlete turned businessman, certainly something they'd seen before. What only the passage of time could bring into sharp focus was that this was a mind like few others. A razor-sharp intellect, nurtured by an extensive education, a rabid curiosity about the world, and a voracious appetite for the written word and for music in particular. And as Sean mentioned, let us not forget the real-world business experience as a brand manager at Unilever. He just happened to surf really, really well. And he was used to staking out controversial positions and taking the heat from an early age. Sean mentioned Down the Line magazine, which Michael founded in his early 20s. I remember one of the covers, which featured a young woman on a Husqvarna dirt bike with the provocative title, "In My Next Life, I'm Coming Back as a Man." MT was already mixing surfing and popular culture from day one in his early 20s, and I'm not even mentioning the sports boycott op-ed, because we've all done that. Moving forward, Gotcha arrived in the US in the 70s, and that leads us to another aspect of MT's career that is often overlooked. One that highlights both the extraordinary triumph and tragedy that are inextricably linked in MT's story. Gotcha was in fact a very short-lived company at the top of its game, and yet in a relatively short period of time, a little over 10 years, the company redefined what action sports brands could be and laid the foundation for what we see around us. And let's face it, as mentioned above, while many of us played important roles in those accomplishments, Gotcha was literally the embodiment of MT himself. Brash, irrelevant, innovative, multidimensional, and committed. In truth, there are many action sports industry icons over the years who have accomplished incredible things and are without question deserving of their stature. And I realize that the mere suggestion that it is someone who sits on top of the action sports org chart, for want of a better description, may imply an ever slight dulling of their luster. But I'm going to make the case anyway, that MT is the action sports CEO emeritus. Remember, it's so much easier to build on a foundation once it's in place than to build it from scratch. MT had no endemic roadmap for what Gotcha was to become. Nothing like Gotcha had come before in action sports because no one like MT had come before. And he charted a course for Gotcha that we have followed since. We have all followed since to some degree. MT married all the influences that we commonly refer to as youth culture and wove them into an unparalleled creative narrative that Gotcha championed when it was at the top of its game. He was eternally curious and always looking for the edge. As Sean mentioned, he shopped the world looking for fashion influences. Gotcha worked with some of the most talented art directors and designers around the world, designed clothes for punk bands, and hired a designer who came from Versace, of all places, as well as advertising buys and interview magazine and details, things that surf brands just had never done before, probably never thought of before. The apparel catalogs were literally works of art, never mind the mind-blowing trade show booths. I remember the frequent logo changes that used to drive the operational legal staff nuts, the in-your-face ad campaigns, and the incredible parties, at least the ones that I remember. And as I've taken on more responsibility over the course of my career, I've realized how gutsy he was in many of the calls that he made. Everyone remembers the in-your-face if you don't surf, don't start ad campaign. And many of us think it's one of the best ever. I think we've got an image of it. If we don't, the headline speaks for itself, but the subject matter were weird photos of non-surfers with a little bit of a insult, shall we say, to those who did not surf. Well, imagine you're the CEO of the largest action sports brand in the world at that time, and your company's distribution profile was generating a shit ton of money from what we affectionately call the non-endemic market today. And you're about to basically tell all your customers to fuck off. And let's decide the size of that middle finger for one moment. Gotcha's turnover at that time was probably around $80 to $90 million. And I think it's fair to argue that the action sports industry today is at least 20 to 30 times bigger than it was 35 years ago. So Gotcha was no small niche upstart company looking to make a name for itself. So here's a guy in his early 30s running a multi-billion-dollar brand, and he's deciding whether to run this campaign. Sure, it was obviously going to bolster our cred in the core market, but it was just an advertising campaign. We could easily have run another option, not in MT's world, which calls attention to another character trait that MT had in spades that was pivotal to Gotcha's success. That's courage. Not only was he an incredible creative being, but he also had the courage to manifest that creativity. This cannot be overstated. Creativity without courage is like a Ferrari without gas in the tank. Sure, it's beautiful to look at, but it's not going anywhere. Okay, now that we've firmly established... Thanks. Okay, now that we've firmly established that we all report to MT, what about his broader legacy? Of course, he led what many consider to be the most influential action sports brand ever, co-founded SIMA with Bob McKnight, and along with Bill Delaney of Free Ride fame, conceived of and produced Surfers the Movie, one of the most important films ever, and as Sean mentioned, the Gotcha Pro at Chopu. However, that doesn't even consider the post-Gotcha careers that were launched and the profound influence all those people had on today's action sports industry. There are at least a couple tables worth here tonight, and not everyone is even here. I could go on, and all of this in a little over 10 years. And so to bring the conversation full circle, let's stop for a moment and think about MT's impact and what it could have been if his tenure at the top of his game had lasted 20 years or even 30 years. If he had not succumbed to his demons at a relatively young age, what would his legacy be? If he were around today with the power of social media at his disposal, what would he be saying to the world? What other taboos and norms would he have broken, and how much better off would we all be as a result of that? To me, it's a question with an obvious answer, and deep, deep down, we all know it. Let's be frank. Every genre and generation have had their casualties, and unfortunately, MT's was ours when viewed through that narrow aperture. There's no harm in recognizing that sad fact. However, as the years have gone by, I've come to realize that what he got right could not be diminished by what he got wrong. And anyone who tries to arrive at a compromised net effect is missing the wood for the trees. He was and always will be one of the greatest leaders our tribe has ever had, and one who unfortunately embraced one of his idols' lyrics all too well. You know the song, "Hey, hey, my, rock and roll is here to stay, It's better to burn out than to fade away. Hey, my, hey, hey. In closing, I'd like to come back to the story about MT and my dad. In the early 80s, I was playing smash ball at Thalia Street in Laguna with a young lady I was dating at the time. Afterwards, I walked over to MT and he pointed straight at her and he said, "She's the one, you should marry her." I was like 22. Fast forward 35 years later and reconnecting with Kim, who I am finally married to, by the way, standing right over there. We saw MT together quite a few times before he passed away because Kim knew him well from her days in Laguna as well as I did. While sharing many stories and cathartic moments, I reminded him about that day at Thalia, and he looked over at Kim with that mischievous MT grin and he winked. And in that moment, as I took stock of where my life was at, there was no question that MT had delivered on his promise to my dad so many years ago. And I was simultaneously overcome by the love I felt towards this person who had played such a prominent role in my life, coupled with a heartbreaking and profound sense of impending loss. Restless, but in peace, MT. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Now we have a video of Mike Thompson.
Thompson, who put it all on the line to create a sport, a culture, and an industry that's today worth tens of billions of dollars and has captured the imagination of the world.
None of this was planned. You have to understand that, you know? I don't care what anyone says. This is just, it was evolution, you know what I mean? We, meaning the South Africans and the Australians, we grew up surfing a certain way. That was the only way we knew how. So when we came to Hawaii, that was how we surfed. It happened to be different. It happened to break boundaries.
They all developed a way of actually, delaying the bottom turn a little bit and getting their body in a position where they could get sheer backside of pipe, which was sort of thought to be fairly impossible.
Michael Thompson's sheer balls.
I don't think anyone took more people than me. I say that now for sure, with absolute, unequivocal certainty. I think it's the most important thing I did as a surfer, because it stayed with me forever, you know. The photographs, the vision in my mind, I can see it. It's absolutely beautiful. But terrifying too. Very few people can go through life and say that they've been doing something for 45 years. You know, what have you been doing for 45 years? I will surf till I die.
Wow. I'd like to bring up Oliver Thompson to accept Mike Thompson's Lifetime Achievement Award.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to say how honored I am to be here, to be among all of you. What I like to think of as my greater family. I mean, I've grown up with half of you, honestly. I mean, I know every single person in this room. It's amazing. So we're talking about someone who happens to be my father, so I feel very lucky to be here for that. But someone whose legacy can be felt through every generation of surfers, down to the fact that I was on Etsy last week and I saw a poster that said, "If you don't surf, don't start." So, his dedication to authenticity, to surfing and its culture, to all of us who love this sport can never be understated. For me, my father was always a figure that was larger than life, and it was hard for me to conceptualize his impact on the world that I call home. And to be completely honest with you, since he's passed, it's been my relationships with all of you. It has been, in my later life, getting to know all of you who were part and parcel to his success that have made me understand the true impact that he had on our industry and on the lives of every surfer and waterman, on this earth. So all I can say is that from the bottom of my heart, thank you to all of you. Thank you for being there. Thank you for being part of this journey. And thank you for honoring my father, Michael Thompson, this evening with the Lifetime Achievement Award.
When it's hard. more thing.
If you all will indulge me, I would like to invite up Joel Cooper, my father's business partner and best friend, to say a couple words.
This is very difficult. How do you follow Sean Thompson, great speaker, Mark Price, who did the most incredible job expressing his feelings and telling all of you about the history of Michael and what it meant to him, which really reflects on what it meant to a lot of people. We all have such wonderful memories of Michael. His humor, his wit, his intelligence, and his vision. A surfer who shaped the world and brought us here today, a billion-dollar industry. For me, myself, I am so fortunate. I shared in his wonderful ride. I was always happy to be the backdoor guy because he always respected me, and there was never any competition between us because we complemented each other. 50 years of friendship. 50 years of a brotherhood, 50 years of a partnership, never arguing. I feel so fortunate that I was able to experience that, and for me, Michael was an inspiration as he was to so many other people. His ability, as Sean said, to light up a room when you walked in, to make people laugh, to stand on your shoe as you walked away. He was just one of a kind. I know he's right now looking down on us and saying, thank you so much. All I wanted was recognition for the incredible job I did and the influence I had on so many people, the industry, and the world around me. I'm very happy to be able to send him my love. I love you, Michael.
Wow, what an incredible life, what an incredible person, what an incredible impact. Amazing speeches, a fitting tribute. And now to present the 2022 SIMA Environmentalist of the Year Award, please welcome CEO of Wild Coast and Mayor of Imperial Beach, Serge Dedina.
Buenas noches. You guys doing good? Laguna Beach, August. The hurricane swells over, but you know, the Environmentalist of the Year Award is given each year to an individual or individuals who have diligently served to protect oceans, beaches, and waves around the world. You know, and this year, the theme that unifies our honorees is core to the core. Michael Thompson, from the Bay of Plenty and Pipeline to the visionary leadership of Gotcha. Thank you, Mark, Sean, and Joel. Italo with a heart like a lion. We cried with him when he won that gold medal along with Carissa. And our two honorees who spent their lives protecting the places we love, Anne Earhart and Beto Badolf of the Marisla Foundation. Core to the core, hardcore. Raised in the beaches of Southern California, forged on the back roads of Baja California. And Anne was at K55 in the 70s. For those of you at K55 with Laird and everybody, when the expression session happened, you know exactly what I was talking about. In 1973, when she took her VW Bug all the way down to Cabo, right? Hardcore. They met, Beto and Ann met independently when they were in Paraguay in the 1980s, when General Stroessner ruled. This isn't the South America of Italo and Brazil and the beautiful waves in Chile. This is the lowland tropic jungles of Paraguay. Hardcore. I was there during that period a few years later. It's not fun. But what you saw in Paraguay, you saw the edge. You saw with the edge when governments and multinationals mow down the rainforest and they don't stop. And there's no one to stop them. Beto backed it up by going to keep it easy, by going to Mozambique during the Civil War. There wasn't a Mozambique of South African surfers visiting and ride point breaks. It was landmines, child soldiers, and heavy stuff. And I think he had a senator, he was working for the United States government then, and a senator came to visit. And I think the airline was shot, the plane was shot at, hardcore. But they teamed together to form the Marisla Foundation to do a simple thing, to defend nature. Not defend, yes. Not to do a lot of tweeting, not to have a lot of friggin' meetings, not to spend their time talking about policy, but to spend their time backing the people that protect our coast and ocean and our surf spots around the world, right? And let me tell you about those moments. Because there's always somebody you get the call from that says, you've taken it too far. And I know Chad and Hugo have known that. When they say, yeah, you offended the guys that want to fuck up your surf spot and turn it into an oil refinery or a toll road, right? And that was never Ann and Beto. Sort of like when Snips and Peter Mello are on the beach, you know, telling the kids, like, keep charging. That's Ann and Beto, right? And Hugo and Chad especially knows that, right? When we're in the thick of a battle to stop marina development in Baja California, or to stop the pulp mills in Chile from destroying the world's best left point breaks, and Ramon Navarro knows all about that. When they're out in the Hawaiian Islands, right, defending beautiful waves and rainforests, or out in Palmyra, one of the most ambitious ocean conservation programs in the world, Ann and Beto are there. Ann and Beto have a simple message. Keep doing the work, right? Keep preserving nature, and because what they understand is something very simple. Our job is to defend nature. It's not to apologize for it. It's to continue protecting the most important places on the planet, our coast and ocean, our planet, for future generations, and making sure they're there to witness and support the people doing the work, and making sure those places are around for a long time to come. They're wonderful people committed to their friends and family. They're wonderful conservationists, environmentalists, and humanitarians. And it's my honor to, we're gonna have a video and then we'll give them the word. So here's the.
Founded over 30 years ago, the Marisla Foundation has become one of the leading foundations working on conserving our oceans, coasts, and beaches. Under the leadership of its founder and president, Ann Earhart, and longtime executive director, Herbert Beto Badolf, the team of Marisla Foundation is committed to protecting some of the world's most important natural places.
Growing up, the beach was always my favorite place, so Marisla reflects that love. Although we support many great projects around the world, the ocean and its creatures have always been my passion. Over many years, Beto Badolf, our executive director, has helped me bring that passion to fruition.
Marisla has made ocean protection a big priority. More specifically, we focus on oceans, coasts, reefs, and islands. So you can see that covers a lot of territory. The countries and the regions we focus on are California, Baja California, Chile, and Hawaii. So just a sampling, just a few of the places we've helped to protect include Trestles, San Miguel, Punta de Lobos, and even the North Shore of Oahu.
Marisla Foundation has worked closely with many of its trusted grantees to achieve important impact and successes, and plans to continue this work to keep our oceans, coasts, and beaches healthy for years to come.
Hi, this is Ted Danson. I just love saying my name. I wish I could be there at the Waterman's Ball. It is my favorite fundraiser ever. 30 years ago, more or less, I got invited to speak there, and it knocked my socks off. You guys are amazing. Thank you for the work you do. I just want to offer my congratulations to Ann Earhart and Beto Badolf. And you are truly one of my heroes. Your generosity and wisdom has changed the oceans for the better. I'm proud to know you. I really am. And Beto, you truly have been one of my mentors in life. Your ability to tackle such huge, sad, scary issues and still keep your sense of humor and your sense of joy in life is, I'm grateful to have been around that. I wish I could be there. Goodbye, you all. And once again, this is Ted Danson. Just love saying it.
Please join me in welcoming and honoring Ann Earhart and Beto Badolf, Environmentalists of the Year.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to speak before Beto because he's much funnier than I am, so it's always a tough act to follow. But aloha, everybody. And thank you so much, Paul, Vipe, and everyone at the SIMA Environmental Fund for this honor. This is super special coming from the Ocean Tribe. We're all here tonight bonded by our love of the ocean. We may experience the ocean in different ways. Some of us surf, some of us dive, and some of us just float around and enjoy the ocean. But we are all here because the ocean touches the deepest part of our soul. So, as people have said already tonight, I'll say it again, it is our responsibility to guard her, care for her, do whatever we can for her, even if it's just stooping down, picking up that trash on the beach, because there's always trash on the beach. Thank you. That's a big one. Pick up trash on the beach when you see it. I want to say a huge thank you to Beto, my partner in crime for nearly 30 years. He is a strategic thinker and a tireless worker and has put flesh on the bones of my ideas. Trestles, North Shore, Laguna San Ignacio, plastics, Serge mentioned a couple. There's a lot that we have done over the many years, but as always, more to do. But Beto has been a true joy to work with, and as have all of the Mar Isla staff. Thank you so much to Peggy and Cherish and Masa. Thank you very much. You keep our little engine running. So thank you. I hope we have made a difference, though God knows, as I said, there is always more to do. As Peter Douglas said, the coast is never saved. It is always being saved. So this job will never, ever be done, but I'm really happy to be here with folks like you who understand the importance of this. So thank you very much, everybody. Let's remember to care for Mother Ocean. She takes care of us, so let's take care of her.
Good evening, everybody. It's a joy to be here. That's an understatement. And Serge, thank you for those kind words. And I could spend a couple hours talking about some of our trips to Baja, some of my trips to Baja with Serge. Maybe we'll just take some time and talk about that now. Oh, wait. Anyway, thank you, Serge. Two things are going through my mind tonight. Number one, that I've come a long way since those days of riding surf mats in El Porto. That was a long time ago. And also that I'm not worthy, especially when I'm in the same sentence with Michael Thompson and Italo and Ann Earhart. It's a special night indeed. So I'm really happy to be here. Paul and the Environmental Fund of SIMA, thank you so much. What you guys have done to build and sustain the surf conservation community is just remarkable. It is amazing. Serge, true? True. Mark Christie, thank you for this beautiful night at the ranch. I also want to mention and remember Dick Baker and Terry McCann, who have long been guiding lights of SIMA. And I will say, we are privileged with Una. It was nice. Una Baker is here tonight, and Una, it was great to see you. We would not be here tonight without the work of ocean advocates and surf conservationists all over the world who fight for clean water and protection of beaches and surf breaks. SIMA and everyone here have supported those groups for years, and the environmental victories that they keep racking up have improved our lives both on and off the water. There's a lot to be thankful for on this amazing evening. Start with my own ocean-loving family, Tamar and Sarah and Mati, they're here tonight, and the Mar Isla board and staff, who are also here tonight. They do this little thing. All they do is wake up every day and try to figure out how to make the world a better place. Is that so wrong? And Ann Earhart, the visionary founder of Mar Isla, whose wisdom started Mar Isla on the road to ocean conservation. It's an amazing road. She really, she's one of the few people who votes against her own interest if it's going to help the world. And that is very rare today, but everyone in this room, everyone here today is doing that. So we thank you very much. But Anne, thank you for everything you've done. It's been an amazing and rewarding journey to work with Anne for more than 30 years. Hard to believe. So just to wrap up, to paraphrase Mark Twain, we have to protect our surf spots because who knows why? Because why? Because they don't make them anymore. To Paul and to Vipe, thank you for this special night. And to all of you ocean defenders, thank you for supporting SIMA and the Waterman's Ball. We have a lot to support and a lot to protect. And thank you and have a great evening.
Wow. What inspirational people, and great job, Serge, on a fantastic tribute speech. Last but not least, we have the final award of the night, the Water Person of the Year. And here to present the award is none other than Evan Slater.
Hey guys, good evening. Thank you, Hugo. Thanks to SIMA and Vipe and Paul for making this night happen. I think this gathering is another reminder how essential these events are, not only for the ocean, but for the industry and just for the health of surf culture. So thanks to all of you guys for making this happen. It's great to be here. I prepared a few words on Italo. I think we all are familiar with him, but he's made a massive impact on surfing in just a relatively short amount of time. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about where he came from and what he means to surfing worldwide and those developing surf nations especially. So a little over 20 years ago, there was a 6-year-old kid from a small fishing town in northern Brazil who one day decided he wanted to go surfing. His family didn't have enough money for a surfboard, so he did what he's pretty much done his entire life. He improvised. Using the lid of a cooler that his dad had. His dad was a fisherman. He pulled this cooler lid off, paddled out, and suddenly started to figure out how to catch waves, stand up on them, and then eventually surf them well. And this was all on a cooler lid. I don't think anyone could have guessed that this determined and resourceful kid, in 2021, Italo Ferreira would become surfing's first Olympic gold medalist. Pretty incredible. At that point in his life, he had no idea that there was a career path in surfing, that there was professional surfing, even competition, anything like that. All he knew was that surfing brought him joy. And since then, he's ridden that wave of joy and gratitude all the way to the top of the surfing echelon. He first came on a lot of people's radar in 2018. I think we all remember this, when he was overheard in a porta potty, banging on it, screaming, "Thank you, God! I did it!" After beating Mick Fanning in his first WCT win. And it was well documented, and it became I guess what they call a meme these days. But it was pretty cool. But that was only the beginning, and we couldn't help but cheer for his just boundless energy and all-out brand of surfing as he just continued to charge ahead. People labeled him as part of this emerging Brazilian storm, but Italo really was a Category 5 hurricane unto himself. And within a couple short years, not only won a world title in 2019, but then won the Olympic gold medal in Japan. And while we love him for all the inspiration he's given us in the water with his crazy surfing, his back flips on land after he wins a contest, probably seen that before. His abs, I don't know if you can see those things, but you can't spell Bravo on a surfboard without ab. His ever-changing hairstyles and his forever stoked attitude. We also love him for the generous and thoughtful human that he is. The one who continues to quietly give back to the small fishing town in massive ways. This town that gave him everything he needed to be a world champion. Despite his meteoric rise, he's never forgotten where he's came from. And it's these qualities, I think, that really make a deserving recipient of the Waterman of the Year award. And not only that, couldn't be more fitting for surfing's first Olympic gold medalist. And just to close, I just wanted to end with a quick personal story about Italo and the impact that he's had on surfers around the world. I had the privilege at the end of 2021 to go on a trip with him to Senegal, kind of a thriving young surfing nation, tons of kids surfing around there. And when we brought Italo there, it was incredible how many people recognized him. So every time he would paddle out, there'd be 50 kids lining the beach and wanting to surf with him. They'd paddle out immediately. So there'd be nobody in the lineup. Italo would paddle out, and then there'd be 50 people in the lineup. All kids, just freaking out, surfing with him. And then not only that, we brought him down to another surf spot, checking the waves one day, and a boat comes by, and they're paddling the boat, and they're basically bringing the boat to land. And these guys were in their 20s, but they all surfed, and they recognized Italo. And Italo volunteered to help them bring the boat up onto the beach. And as Italo's there helping this crew bring up the boat onto the beach, they're chanting in their local Wolof language. It's called Wolof. The champion is with us, push harder. The champion is with us, push harder. And there have been a lot of inspirational world surfing champions in the past, but Italo, you can almost say, is the first one where kids in these developing surf nations see themselves. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot more Italos in the years to come. So on that note, I really wish he was here. He really wishes he was here, but he's in Tahiti right now, securing his top 5 spot in the Rip Curl WSL Finals. That one's for you, Del. But we're going to watch a quick video, and then Italo's going to accept the award via video. So anyway, thank you, guys.
Nice opening maneuver for Ferreira. Look at this wave here, just tearing the lip to pieces on this occasion, and again, jamming it in the pocket. So precise, so strong, so smooth.
Witnessing a special moment in surfing history. There are moments in sport that you'll never forget. Italo Ferreira is the Rip Curl Pro Bells Beach champion. One of the best backhand performances we've seen in a jersey, finishing with a full rotation whip on the inside. Italo Ferreira is untouchable.
Absolutely perfect rotation. What a landing there from Italo Ferreira. He's definitely going to give Gabriel Medina a run for his money.
Here he goes again. Starting to drive nice and early. Italo still traveling. Will he get an opportunity here? Big full rotation.
Wow, Italo Ferreira, you absolute freak.
Massive! Oh, what a start! What a start from Ferreira! Italo Ferreira is this sport's first Olympic champion, world champion, the people's champion, and now the Olympic champion.
Real quick, Italo really wanted to even just basically fly over here, red eye, come and accept the award, then fly back, and then we thought of like all the stuff that's going on around Taylor Swift and all the air, time in the air and fossil fuels burning and all that stuff. So we thought it was probably a bad idea. We kept him in Tahiti, had him rest up. He's gonna do great, but just want to accept this on his behalf and thank you very much.
Hi everyone, it's Italo Ferreira here. I'm sorry to not be tonight with you guys, and I'm Tahiti. You guys can see from the back. I'm getting ready for the contest to get better and I hope get a win. It's an honor to receive this award, and I just want to say thank you, SIMA, and all the people involved, and I'm so happy with that. And it's not about like win, it's about like inspire the other people, when living this life. And it's an honor to be a part of this list. They have Andy, Kelly, Mick, one of my idols, and yeah, I'm so happy with that. And it's nice to see what SIMA are doing on the ocean, and we need the ocean. The ocean gave us a lot, so we need to be careful with that. So thank for this award, and I hope you guys enjoy the night, and see you guys next time.
A huge respect and kudos to all of our honorees tonight. What inspirational people. Another round of applause for Michael, Anne and Beto and Italo. Individuals who have made such a huge positive difference to our world, to surfing, to the industry, and to protecting our ocean. It's been a fantastic night. Thank you all again for your generosity and for your energy. You really are amazing too. We couldn't do what we do as environmental NGOs without your help, so a big thank you from us. And we want to take a minute to thank a few of the companies and individuals who make this evening and this event such a success. Mark Christie and the entire staff here at the beautiful ranch in Laguna Beach. The Southern California Audi dealers, thank you so much for all of the support. RNDC Tito's and Golden Road Brewing for their donation of tonight's libations, which I'm looking forward to personally in a minute. I'd like to thank all of our Triple Crown sponsors, Surf Expo and Audi, as well as our premier donors, the Harburg Foundation, our Duke and Big Kahuna sponsors, and a special thanks to all of the volunteers who have helped make this evening run so smoothly. And I'd like to say a special thank you to Vipe Desai for his leadership at SIMA, doing a brilliant job already. And to Paul Norday and Chris Evans for inviting me here tonight to be your host. And thank you for tolerating a Brit up at the lectern. But perhaps most importantly, let's have a final big round of applause for all of those environmental groups working so hard to protect planet ocean on your behalf. And to all of you in attendance, a special thank you from me and from all of us. So to close out, I'd like to invite Paul Norday back up onto the stage.
Hey, Paul, while you make your way up here, I just want to say one thing real quick as he comes up. Look, if you had a good time tonight, okay, we need to thank Melinda Simpson, okay? She made it happen. Mel, where you at? If you had a good time, she helped put it together, her and her team. Thank you so much, Mel.
Thanks, Vip. Thanks, Hugo. Hey, great to have a Brit in the house being the MC, somebody who's had tea at Buckingham Palace. Who can say that? We've come a long way as surfers. But huge thanks, Hugo, and a massive thanks to everyone here tonight. A lot of you are lifers. I know that I say this every year in and year out. All of you guys who've been here really for decades, and just incredible support, and all of you believe, and I think that's super important. I'm pleased to say that the bidding was healthy and ferocious tonight. Don't believe the media, you guys. You know, we talk about inflation and recessions and so on, and all I can say is this, is that for the last 2 years, the media, the economists, and the forecasters have been more wrong than right. So, where I come from, the glass is always half full. Adopt that attitude, and I think we're going to be okay. But on that note, I think that we've gone. We're well on our way to achieving our forecast this year, which will be amazing for our beneficiaries out there. As I said earlier, I'm super proud of the industry for just the total commitment to ocean environmentalism. But I do want to call out an organization called Oceana. Oceana is the largest ocean advocacy group in the world, and many of you don't know, but it's sort of been not hidden, but kind of under wraps a little bit, that Oceana has been an incredible benefactor of this organization for the last 15 years, and the throughput of funds that they give to us through to the environmental groups that we support has been an incredible help. For those of you who don't know, you should look up Oceana. While we all concentrate on the sort of the inner surf zone, which we should, because you got to pick your battles, Oceana tackles massive ocean-related things that are going on out there. You know, we kind of tend to look out, and we can go as far as the horizon, but what's happening beyond that is frightening. And this group does incredible work there, and we're super proud to have their support. So look it up. If you can get involved, you should, but educate yourselves. The world, as we know, is 70% ocean. But what we see in our everyday lives is a small percentage of that. What happens beyond that is a massive concern. So get involved, do what you can. I'm going to repeat what Hugo said. A huge thanks to our major sponsors. First of all, Mark and Letitia Christie from the ranch here for hosting us once again. To Audi, as I said, coolest car company in America. Vince is super cool guy. He actually rips, by the way. So he's one of us. And to our liquor sponsors, to all of you for your support. I'd like to call out the SIMA Environmental Fund Board, particularly Beto, who's been an incredible mentor to so many of us. And, it's been a great evening, and thanks for tolerating the ongoing rhetoric while you're trying to eat and so on, but it is what it is. We're here for a fundraiser. We're here to make a difference. We made a difference tonight. I think I actually think we surpassed our goal. Don't have the numbers yet, but pretty interesting, this technology that was sort of adding up the donation ask. I thought it was amazing. So, but great effort, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the evening. We'll be having drinks up in the bar afterwards. Always a good time. So head up there, socialize. Once again, a massive thanks. Look forward to seeing you all again next year, and keep up a good fight. We got a lot to fight for here. So thank you.